Hi, and welcome to this new episode of Impact Podcast Lab. I interview other conscious leaders who grow their high impact podcast. And today I'm with Matt Kennedy. And Matt Kennedy, you've just started podcasting, and I believe, you told me today is the first time you get interviewed. So, first, how do you feel?
Yeah, like it's a bit weird to be to be interviewed. I don't think I've done anything significant yet, but hopefully one day, hopefully in the podcasting space, I can make a bit of an impact, and yeah, hopefully this is the first of more to come. We'll see.
Amazing. Yeah. And how do you feel?
Good, good. Bit
Yes.
tired. It's been a long day, but no, it's good to be on here and chatting to you. I've been following your content for a little while, Alex. So um, yeah, it's just good to talk to you.
Amazing. Thank you. Yeah. So you've started your podcast.
Mm.
How many episodes do you have now?
Well, I've done two. I got a third coming up.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And so my intention with this podcast is also to help other conscious leaders. So if you're watching this episode and you're either consider starting a podcast or you've started one and you want to take it to the next level, that's where I have these conversations. With you, Matt, I'd love to hear a little bit more first. Like, what's your podcast about?
Yeah, well, it's called my YouTube channel is called Fruitricious, and the podcast is basically well, right now I'm just trying to find different people who are eating a raw vegan or high raw vegan diet and just get some insights as to how they're kind of making it work in their situation. What insights they have from their experience, how long they've been doing it, what kind of lessons learned they have that they can pass on to other people. Because I've been listening to that sort of content for a couple of years, trying to gather information for myself, and I've gotten a lot out of it. So I just thought, I've got a fair bit of experience in media and videography myself. So I thought, maybe this is something I should do. My time's limited because I work full time. So far my content hasn't been the highest quality from a technical perspective. There's a fair bit of a way to go there. But maybe in the future, if I'm doing more casual part-time work, if in a bit of a different situation, I can kind of spend more time on the channel. But for now, I just wanted
Mm.
to get it started and chat to a few people that I've been in contact with that might be open to chatting to me. It's been fun so far.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. And I love the idea of, not being a perfectionist in a way and starting already because, yeah, you can take it to the next level anytime.
Yeah, like I think that was the I'd heard that a lot from people who have had their own YouTube channels, is just to get started
Yeah.
and don't worry too much about it being perfect from a technical perspective, or the material that you're putting out there. Um, you, you're going to become more motivated once you just get even a few people engaging with your content. And I'm not expecting a massive audience, given the material that I'm putting out there. There's still a
Mm.
relatively it's a bit of a niche, raw veganism, fruit being frugivorous, fruitarian, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not 100% fruitarian or frugivorous myself or anything. I'm a vegan, but I'm kind of on a I'm part of my path where I just kind of typically eat fruit during the day most of the time, and then I'll
Mm.
have something more cooked at nighttime. And yeah, I'm trying to learn myself through the podcast. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to um, get insights from those people. So that's how I'm kind of seeing it. Like I'm not really expecting to get anything in return. Maybe in the future, but right now it's more well, apart from insights from people, it gives me an opportunity to chat to these people, but at no cost, which is a massive win. It's really good.
Yeah, 100%. I want to say not expecting anything in return for sure. Speaking to these people, learning a lot is was also one of the main reasons when I started my podcast 7 years ago, and I think it's a very big reason. But I understand. Then of course later down the line may want to make money and build a brand and have all these more strategic pieces. But for sure, just learning is such a good reason. Maybe the best reason. I do find energetically there's something about having a podcast host that's actually really curious about their guest for themselves, right? And as you know, my podcast, The Light Leaders, I've done a lot of content about raw vegans and fruitarians. And very similarly to you, it was because I was really curious about it and I wanted to ask those questions. And these are the podcasts that work the best for me, even though I'm not niche down on this. And so I would say, yeah, that passion, that genuine curiosity is both, yeah, for sure, something you get in return, but also something that can make the success of the podcast. There's another topic you mentioned, which is niching down, and you said like something around the line that was quite a niche and a small amount of people, and then maybe for this reason it'd be you wouldn't have so many views. But actually my experience has been that when I do a podcast on very general personal development or spirituality topic, it's much harder to get more views. And when I niche down on raw vegan and fruitarian, I actually got more views. If you look at my top episodes on my other channel, The Light Leaders, almost all of them are on that raw vegan fruitarian topic because, yes, of course, smaller market, but then YouTube knows where to send my video, where's the potential audience. So actually, it can be a really good strategy to go niche. I'd say if it's something genuine, it's quite a recipe for success also to go for the niche.
Yeah, well, it's a good idea to focus on one particular topic because you're right. YouTube will send those people to that topic. I mean, if you decided to focus on a particular niche that had a lot more people interested in it and then became really good at that, then maybe you could increase your views, but then you wouldn't be doing something you're passionate about. You wouldn't be asking the right questions. And as you said before, that's where good content kind of comes from. And that's why I've enjoyed your content because I knew that, you were actually on a path and you genuinely wanted to get answers out of these people. And that's why I thought like, I'm kind of in a similar place to maybe where you were at the start of your journey. Like I'm trying to figure things out. And so, I can kind of channel that genuine curiosity.
I love that. I love that. And that's what I keep doing, following my curiosity. On the niche topic, it's really interesting on Spotify. I recycled some of my episodes from the Light Leaders into a new branding called the Fruitarian Podcast. And now on Spotify, the Fruitarian Podcast on those episodes gets more views or listens than the original podcast. And that's because I believe people just be like, it really stands out and be like, okay, I wanna subscribe to that. While Light Leaders is much more broad and maybe harder for the algorithm to find the right people and people to really be like, okay, I want to subscribe to that. I want to keep doing the Light Leaders because for me, following my curiosity and learning is more important than views. But I do believe that if I was only after views, I would much rather only focus on that topic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I think the name 100%, as you said, people are just going to be searching for fruitarian, fruit based, into Spotify, and then
Yeah.
but light leaders is not it is a broad term, as you said. But yeah, I mean, chasing views. I mean, you get what you give. I mean, the if you want to chase views, you'll end up like Mr. Beast. I mean, he like that guy gets billions of views on his YouTube videos, and he's got this mind where he's just fine tuned exactly how you know put on a clickbait thumbnail and get people to stick with his videos for a long time. He gets views, but in return, all he gets is money and material things. And I doubt he's getting genuine fulfillment from what he's doing. I doubt he's growing spiritually or getting healthier. He's just, so, if you want to get views, then there's an in between, right? So you don't want nobody to watch your content because I'm not doing anything positive for anyone. So you got to find a way, I guess, to make the content stick out and engaging in some way, but also make sure it's involving the kind of passion that you have, the curiosity.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Matt. Um, I'm curious. There's a little exercise I like to do, which is we imagine it's like playing a game that we're 2 years from now. So we're in 23rd of September 2027, and everything's been flowing perfectly for you with the podcast. Everything worked out really well. So I speak to you in 2027 now, and I'm like, whoa, Matt, it's been crazy since we spoke 2 years ago on that podcast. What happened? What do you tell me?
Well, I think that I just kind of spent more time, I channeled more of my energy into the podcast and the things that I loved, and I spent less time. It was difficult at first because I was giving up money in the short term, and it felt like maybe more of a grind because I wasn't seeing those immediate returns. But because I kind of put my energy and time into the podcast and the things I was passionate about, eventually it did pay off.
Thank you for watching. If you're here, it probably means you're interested to grow a high impact podcast. And I hear you. It's brought so much into my life over the past 7 years. And I'm now passionate about helping other conscious leaders grow theirs. So we can flood the internet with insightful and empowering content. If you have any comments or questions or feedback, leave a comment below. I read and reply to all of them. And if you feel like I may be able to help you with your podcast journey, get in touch. I have a community of impact-driven podcasters, and I support conscious leaders one-on-one also to help them with their podcast, from training them to working as an agency, so you can focus on the fun part, which is to show up and speak. So check out the links in the description and maybe speak to you soon. Much love and enjoy the rest of this episode. Amazing. So how did it pay off?
Well, I think, basically I'm getting more attention, more views, more engagement on the content, but also it is a bit more rewarding monetarily now. I've found ways to actually make more of a living off the content, so I can afford to spend more of my time on it. Because at first it was really just something I was doing in my spare time. So it basically just goes to show that you get what you give. If you put your energy into something, you're going to get more things out of it. So if you keep putting more and more of your energy into your full-time job or into other standard things, and you're not following your passion, then you're just not going to get that return. It's always going to be this little side thing for you. It's never going to be important if you don't care for it.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm curious for the people who are out there who maybe have just started the podcast or are thinking of trying, like, how do you make money now with the podcast?
Well, I use the podcast as a means to promote other things. So there's a couple of sponsorship deals with products that I find that I'm particularly aligned with. I wouldn't necessarily take a sponsorship deal with just obviously any product. But also I use the podcast to promote ebooks that I write, and also have a tiered membership service for people who want to get extra content, and who just want to support the channel and enjoy the content, so they can kind of show that.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks. And one last question on that little game. What was your favorite podcast?
What was my favorite podcast?
Mhm.
Apart from The Light Leaders by Alex Lambert, of course.
No,
I can't say
thank
that.
you. Thank you. I meant what was the favorite podcast episode that you recorded for your own podcast?
Oh, that I recorded. Oh yeah, okay. Um, the episode I did with Dr. Doug Graham, I would say.
Mm,
Fantastic chat, fantastic insights with him.
amazing. Amazing. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Congratulations. A beautiful vision. We can come back to 2025.
I
Yeah.
think it's all possible. I don't think, I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't want to set my ambitions too high, but I think it's good to envision those things. I feel like since I started, I've kind of had a vision of what it could be. I don't necessarily think a podcast could be my full-time income or anything in this space, But it could be a little bit of side income. I just want to feel good about um, the money I'm making. I want to feel good about the means in
Yeah,
which I'm doing that. And I want to feel like it's making a genuinely and positive impact in other people's lives. That's just kind of what I'm hoping to get out of it.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Thanks. And if you want to share, what do you do as a full-time job?
I'm in videography and marketing. So
Oh,
the skills are quite translatable, which
yeah.
is why I kind of was motivated to do this because I think one of the things that I've often seen because there's not that many people um, in this space that are making content. I mean, there are some, but compared to maybe other things, like so think of like sport for example. I mean, how many people are making content about sport on YouTube? Tons. So that means the kind of quality of the content is going to be higher. So I just thought, I could probably do some really well edited videos or bring the kind of technical aspect up a notch, maybe compared to people who are less experienced with that side. So far, I haven't been doing that because it's something that I just do when I get home at the end of the day. I'm like, oh, like I'll use my MacBook camera. Like I'm not gonna whip out my whole camera setup, but I do have the capacity to do that. So when I have more time, I want to um, spend that time kind of doing some more highly edited, like mini documentary type videos that can maybe just more effectively maybe get a few more people to change their views on our diet is and what our origins were, etc. I mean, I don't know all these things for sure, but just what my theories are. So, um, yeah, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. What would you say? So you talked about your vision in 2 years a little bit, and what do you see as a main obstacle to bring that into manifestation?
Uh, Probably money. Like just the fact that I have to I have to make enough money to make my rent and to buy food for myself and save up for to buy a place one day and stuff like and I have to spend and well I say I have to I choose to spend 40 plus hours of my week just working a typical job in order to make money to buy those things so um yeah I feel like that just limits my time and energy to if you include the commute and getting to work and stuff, then you get a bit of time at the weekend, but you want to spend time with my partner, spend time with friends. Once there's very little left in the time and energy account after all of that. So I'm kind of using what I've got right now. But if I did want to kind of meet that vision and kind of make it a more prominent part of my life, I would have to I'd have to cut something. So that it would have to be um, stepping down from a full time role into doing maybe one or two casual or part time jobs, or and I've done my own freelance videography work in the past, which I have quite enjoyed, and it gives you a lot of flexibility compared to working a full time job. But I only just started a new full time job and just moved up to Brisbane, so I'm not really in a place where I just want to cut and run from that quite yet. So I think I'm just gonna give it a bit more time before I put more of my energy into this. So it's kind of the only thing I just started, but I can see myself one day doing that, and I think just getting started is potentially going to build that motivation up over time.
Mm, yeah, yeah, for sure. It's such an interesting thing because it's just really good to be grounded and realistic as you are. Because sometimes people say, "Oh, I don't really mind about the money," and for some people it's going to be true,
Mm.
but for some people also it's going to be much harder to prioritize the podcast if it's something else that takes a lot of time and they don't make money from it. So
Yeah,
I think it can be a good idea, yeah, to be real and if we need to either monetize the podcast or have a side thing, it's gonna help, for sure. Mm. Um,
yeah, like power to people who can make a full time income from a podcast, but I assume it's going to be in a more popular kind of category or genre rather than than raw veganism. It'd be very difficult if someone could just do it from a podcast in raw veganism and make full time income. But usually it's like a part of a larger kind of media
Yeah.
umbrella. Like there are people who are raw vegans making full time income on their all of their content, but that includes their books, their YouTube videos, their podcasts,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, YouTube monetization, you need a very big number, but some people can make pretty good money with, yeah, it can be coaching, community,
Yeah,
products, sponsorships. So, yeah, I mean, for example, for me, I'm close to a full-time income with the coaching
that's
and
cool.
coaching for like people with podcasting, right? And then I'm exploring now. I'm trying to get Nama juicers also to sponsor the podcast, and I have a raw
Yeah,
restaurant here also who's sponsoring the podcast. So it takes time. It's a little bit bootstrap. If someone comes to me and is like, "What's the quickest way to make money?" I probably wouldn't direct them to a podcast, but yeah, it's achievable. I think it's good to be realistic and to then, if we know it's going to help us put more time and quality into it to make money from it, to yeah, try it and have some strategies around it, whether it's doing a little advert doing the podcast, whether it's with a sponsor, whether it's having a coaching business, but having a way to monetize it for sure. Yeah, and as you mentioned, with the ebooks you had in mind, and maybe some sponsorship and maybe a community. Mm.
yeah. I think that you need to monetize things through multiple paths. When it comes to a more niche thing like this, but yeah, I think you raise a lot of really good points, and that's awesome that you're close to making like full time income on your coaching and podcast and stuff. That's really cool. I think it's great inspiration for people out there. And every time I hear that someone's making part of their income or all of their income from that, it motivates me to put a bit more of my time and energy into it, which is important. And that's what you're doing with this podcast, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, that's the yeah, that was the idea also with this podcast is we talked about the niche. In terms of monetization, it can be smart to have a podcast topic that's close to how to monetize it, right? So for example, if you have a podcast on being a raw vegan, then the offer is gonna work better if it's closer to it for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But videography or marketing services could work also. I mean, that's also close to what I'm doing with the podcast, and not advertising the topic I'm podcast. I'm not doing an offer on the topic on which I'm podcasting, but on podcasting itself.
yeah, yeah. No, 100%. And yeah, it's cool to. I feel like even though when I'm at work and working my job, like I don't feel like I'm completely. I don't think I'm not aligned with my passions totally because I'm learning how to market things and I'm learning how to create quality content that attracts attention. So I'm like, okay, well, I can channel this into something I'm more passionate about one day, rather than just real estate. But like for now, I can kind of um, just keep building those skills up, and then when I do have more time, it's like I can put everything I've learnt into that.
Yeah, and that's really cool because you mentioned also starting not being perfectionist. And one thing is when you upgrade everything, you already have learned so much about podcasting and interviews, and you will be so much better at it. Because just having a studio but not being a good podcast host or being more beginner at it is probably not going to make the podcast. And it didn't make it for me with the Light Leaders. I had so many episodes in studio with 100, 200 views, and then Zoom calls with 10,000 views. So
Yeah, that's what matters the most. Is most people really don't care about the technical side when it comes to a podcast. I don't think it's. I mean, yes, it is nice not to have audio that's like difficult to hear in the car or something when you're driving. Like you don't want it to be at that level, but as long as it's a Zoom call where it's relatively audible, then I think the conversation, the people who are on it, that's what really matters to people. I think when it comes to YouTube content though, and this is what I'm hoping to kind of maybe bring to to the fruitarian raw vegan community, I think the quality of the content matters a lot more when you're sitting there watching something. Like, because when you're listening to a podcast, you're usually doing something else at the same time. It's
Mm.
like background content. Um, but when you're giving something all of your attention, I think part of our brain thinks like, this really has to be worth my time. So I'm hoping that I can make some content that's really engaging visually as well as from an audio perspective. Maybe kind of close to documentary type content.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And if you can make it nicer to the eye, of course, it's gonna help. Of course, it's better, right? But
Sure. Yeah,
but it's
absolutely.
just not gonna make the content. And you know, on YouTube, a lot of people end up just listening. I have YouTube Premium. I often use it just like a podcasting, and I
So
just
do
put
I.
the audio, unlock my phone, or sometimes it's like in the background, and I don't know, I'm stretching on my bed or whatever. So I think a lot of people also use YouTube as a podcasting platform. I think Gillian Berry, for example, who has a huge YouTube, I don't even know if she posts hers on Spotify, even though they can be like 2 hours interviews.
Yeah, I think she does actually, but I do also use YouTube Premium as basically a podcasting
Mm.
platform, and yeah, a lot of people are doing that. I think if Premium wasn't a requirement for that, YouTube could be a bigger like podcast platform.
Mm.
But yeah, as of right now, I think it is important to get obviously your stuff everywhere, and I should post my stuff to Spotify at some point. But yeah, I think yeah, YouTube is definitely growing in that sense, and I think has the
Mm.
potential to be a kind of big platform for people to just listen. But yeah, it's quite cost prohibitive, YouTube Premium. Like I'm on a family plan, so that kind of helps. But I think it's like 18 Australian dollars a month or something, which is not super cheap.
Yeah, yeah, it's much cheaper in Bali. I think I pay like more like 6 euros or something. But
Yeah, right.
yeah, talking about cost efficient ways to make the podcast better. Are you happy if I share some insights with you?
I'd love to. I mean, you've done so many podcast episodes, and you've kind of been
Yeah.
through so much of it. I think yeah, the more insights, the better.
Yeah, I would say, of course, it's nice to have the studio set up and to have like professionals working and all this, but you can go to quite a high quality at pretty low cost. Like, for example, right now I'm on my iPhone. I find if you have a good iPhone, it can be a really good camera. This iPhone 15.
I've
Uh,
got I got a whole camera set up. I got
okay,
microphones. I own it all. I
okay,
just can't be bothered setting it up.
okay. And
Takes a
then
while.
for online interviews, I would go to Riverside because it
Yeah.
records locally and it keeps the high quality. And also then there's a lot of AI feature. It saves a lot of time. It creates clips automatically.
Yeah, that's quite cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
like
for
that
example,
feature.
now I'm recording with you. Maybe 30 minutes after we finished, I can post it on YouTube, edit it, and have clips. Yeah.
So the B-roll that they use for those clips, is that like do they have like a stock library that they pull from, or is it like AI generated?
Both. They have a stock library and they you can generate from VO3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
So
cool.
very, very advanced B-roll generation, like generation of content. The editor can get a little bit slow if you start doing crazy editing. Like if you do want to do really good editing, I wouldn't use Riverside. I
Yeah.
would go to DaVinci or like
Yeah, yeah,
Adobe
yeah.
Premiere or these things. So it gets slow. But if you want that's like that 80/20, like the 20% of effort and cost to get 80% of a good podcast, which to me is um, having like if you can do a little intro with teasers from the episode, if you can put a little jingle, maybe a little ad in the middle that talks about services, remove the background noise easily, and have a few clips. To me, that's like already you go one level up compared to using a Zoom or Google Hangout, and it's going to save a lot of time.
Yeah, the time's really important, I think. Like you don't want it to feel like a chore and
Yeah.
take away that passion.
And Riverside's $30 a month, so that's like very reasonable um,
Hmm.
pricing, I feel. And then yeah, and then obviously the next level is like when you get several cameras and a whole setup and all this. And then there's a few things with the light also. I feel you could do like having the camera. I mean, you know better than me on this, but these are small,
Yeah.
pretty cheap ways to already improve the visuals.
Yeah, totally. I think lighting is something I need to do. I need to just get a couple of lights set up. I just, yeah, it's like part of me just doesn't, can't be bothered, doesn't have the time. But yeah, I think lighting can make a big difference, even if you're
Yeah,
just using like a, as you said, like an iPhone. Like it
yeah.
does make a big difference for sure.
But yeah, at the same time, man, congratulations again on like getting started, and the most important, having the conversations. And yeah, that's amazing achievement. So many people get so stuck by how it looks like and what people say and all that. And so yeah, congratulations.
Thank
Um,
you.
was it valuable conversation today, Matt?
Very, very. And I'd love to have you on my podcast and talk a little bit about your journey podcasting and eating raw vegan or a high raw vegan diet. I'd be really curious to chat more to you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's plan it after we finish the recording. Do you have any takeaways you'd like to share from our conversation today?
Yeah, I think as you said, getting started is an important step. I'm happy I've done that, and I do find I think I'm starting to kind of discover that every time you do it, not only does you get better and you realize ways you can improve and things you can do better, but it also increases your motivation to do it more. I mean, motivation unused will kind of diminish. So just doing it as often and as regularly as you can, and yeah, I think if I just start it and let it kind of slip away, and I'm not regularly scheduling guests, then I'm gonna lose that motivation. I'm gonna lose the skill. So um, just a good reminder, I think, to continue to stay on top of it. And even though it is hard after, if you've got responsibilities, if you've got work, especially if you have like a family or kids or something, it's gonna be really difficult to start something like this. But um, if you can just give it enough time, it could just be, a couple of hours a week. It doesn't have to be ridiculous. And I think using something like Riverside will really help it in that regard, as you said, to kind of help elevate that content. So I think I'm going to give that a crack for sure.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Matt. And there's also something I do for some clients is obviously it comes a bit more at a premium, but for people who just want to show up and record, because that's mostly what people are excited about, just recording and then post-production is taken care of. That's also something I do for
Awesome.
clients, and I think that's usually the dream for podcasters is to do the fun part, which is having the conversations, right?
Totally. Yeah, I like the post production part. Obviously doing it for a living, but I just, it's just time. I just don't want to be doing it at 9 o'clock at night.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Any last words you want to share with people watching today?
Well, just say if you're just a person who is thinking about it, thinking about starting a podcast, as Alex said, it can be quite easy to just get started. So maybe just do that and use a service like Riverside, and you can kind of you already be a podcaster. It really is that easy nowadays. It's not something like super special, but it can be. You can build it into something like that, and that's what I'm hoping to achieve. And Alex has done a fantastic job with his podcasts. So keep listening to his content. It can really serve as a kind of inspiration for you for sure.
Hmm. Thank you, Matt, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah, thanks for having me.